Get in where you fit in. Financially where you fit in. Welcome to the Camo and Hooks podcast. This is Mike.
And this is Luke.
And we are, well, I am, I guess, our side of things. We're trying to build an estate.
Ooh.
Yeah, I guess that makes it sound way cooler than like anything that I've thought about. So my wife and I have been in the market to buy a piece of land. Nice. With my kind of integrating hunting into the lifestyle and it being a big part of who we are right now, that's a big motivation for it.
Yeah.
Is that we want to have, anywhere between 50 and 100 acres, I think we want to start with. That's reasonably close, under 2 hours from where we live here in the nice, friendly suburbs.
Right.
But the hunting's a primary idea behind it. But man, just like opening the conversation and talking to realtors and looking at land, it's just like a giant rabbit hole, something that I've never... It's a can of worms, rabbit hole, all those sort of things.
There's a lot that goes into it,
and that you have to consider with buying the land. And like we've, the mythical Greg that we talk about. You've you've been kind of talking to him about his family owns land and all that they've gone through.
Yeah,
with what they're having to manage and what selling off parts of it. I don't remember all that.
Yeah, it's a huge process. They had two separate pieces that were really just separated by a road.
Right.
And they both were just places that had been in their family for generations, and they had a guy that was farming it for them.
Right.
And that eventually just became not as cost effective. So they sold off half of it, and that's gone. And that's because up in that top area, that section, everybody else was selling off their land to become housing developments.
Yeah.
So they still have the bottom part of the land, which was slightly bigger, and that's also the part that's wooded that we had hunted a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So excited about that.
Yeah, that still exists.
But he'd been kind of looking into maybe like trying to buy it from them, maybe build a place out there or whatever. But there's no power, no water.
Oh wow!
And
dude, there's giant power lines running right over the top of the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's like, just tap into those. Apparently, it's not that easy.
Whatever.
But yeah, he looked into it, and I mean, running power and water is insanely expensive.
Yeah.
Insanely expensive.
I think because you have to dig a well most places in Texas. And I think, how did they quote it? I think it's something like, it's like $80 a foot or something like that. Or yeah, something crazy.
No. Having not done a lot of research, I would guess that's low.
Yeah, it's I feel like...
Well, and you got to go hundreds of feet.
You got to go 300 to 350 feet a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I think I'm getting that right. That I think it's...
that's just to dig the hole, right?
Yeah, well, that's to dig the hole and to run the pipe down there. But still, like, good Lord, like that's you really do legitimately have to take out a loan to do that. And a lot of places, I'm finding out, a lot of financing places offer a rolled up package where it's like the land and pulling electricity and digging a well. You can finance all those things together.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
But that's another thing to look at when you're looking out there is like, well, now the first question we have was, does it have power and water?
Yeah.
Like that's first thing. So usually when...
Sure, we'll just roll another $40,000 into that loan for you.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And there's some of them have like a hybrid. Some of them have like, they'll have it like run to the corner for like an RV hookup or something like that, but it's not quite set for a house, like the power and stuff.
Right.
With no water. But it seems to be more common that they're on the grid water, electric wise than water. Water seems to be a big thing that doesn't happen a lot of times. So I'm so surprised that they don't have power out at that place, especially since it's been farmed and everything, that they didn't have any. But we definitely saw
there's nothing out there to run power to.
I guess that's true.
They have no reason.
They could just have a socket sitting in the middle of the field.
Yeah. Charge my phone.
Yeah, just an iPhone charger out there. That'd be great with that little barn out there. Yeah. So that is something that we've really learned and had to see. Is like kind of what we're looking at is you're going to see the price differential and like space differential between like completely unworked, undeveloped land. And that comes on a spectrum, is that the first part of that spectrum, the lowest end, is somebody's just got a chunk of land and they're not really doing much. It's fenced, maybe, and they're not doing much, but there's a lot of new cedar growth. There's no trails cut in. There's no roads in, anything like that. It's just land. Yeah. And that should be your lowest cost per square foot, because you're going to have to work for 2 years to make that usable. Even as a hunting lease, you're probably going to have to work for a couple of years to make that usable.
Come in and put in some road just to get in there.
Just to get in and out, right. And, dig a tank or something and make sure that there's something that, in some places, if it's small on a piece of land, you won't even have real clearings in there. Like you'll have to create clearings and things for wildlife to want to come in. And then the kind of next up the scale is you'll have people that have worked the land a little bit, have dug a tank, that there are roads, there are things, they may have electricity drop, they may have the start of water or something like that. And then going on up the scale, kind of the top is that you already have a house on it. Now in between that, you may have there's places that they have like a carport, or they have a shed, or they have a small cabin. Some places just have a full out house on it, and you would be shocked how little difference an actual house makes in the cost of some pieces of land.
Yeah, well, I've done some just very, landsoftexas.com.
Yeah, right.
Let's look at some ranches and whatever. And yeah, it is, you'll just go down the list and you sort them by price, and every other one's got a 3-bedroom house on it, and it's just right there next to the stuff that's completely undeveloped.
Yeah, it's just, and you wonder, is it just that's not a good quality piece of land? But no, it's just the bank really cares about the land. Yeah. That's really what matters.
Well, because you can build as many houses as you want. They're not building any more land.
They're not making any more land, correct. And so the way that we're looking at it is we're first looking at it as, of course, an investment, because land is land, and it's really hard for, land of any kind to depreciate, especially when it's already undeveloped. There's nothing built on it. So we want to look at it that way. Maybe long term, that's something we turn around. But really, kind of what it's for is the same way we look at our houses. This is just something that we want to have, and this is something I want our kids to have, and to have in the family and stuff, because I really do want to use it for hunting land. I want to use it for just having the space to do the things we want to do.
You just want to go camping. Teach my kids some lessons about being in the outdoors, about all that kind of good stuff, about how to work land. That's invaluable stuff. Here's a knife. See you Tuesday.
Right. Oh man. No, take all 3 of them out. Here's a knife for each one of you. I'll see one of you on Tuesday.
Get all Lord of the Flies on.
Who's the strongest sibling is what we're going to figure out. It would be one of the girls, 100%. Evan's going to listen to this one day and be like, what the hell, Dad? I just got the killer instinct, man. I don't know what to tell you.
He's got the reach advantage.
He does have a good reach advantage.
So there's
That's
that.
True. Yeah. But he'd get so distracted by something. Hannah would just reach. She'd use stealth mode on him. She's got soft feet, He's not a stealthy one.
Just come dropping out of a tree on him or something.
She would, 100%. Use the gymnastic skills. But yeah, we want, and the main thing, the reason I wanted to bring it up here is that I want to offset some of that cost by making this a hunting lease if we get it. And that's, speaking of cans of worms, that's a whole nother one.
Yeah.
Right there. And, we have friends, we have people on our network that have, run hunting leases, that, do guided hunts and stuff like that. It's just, it's interesting starting at the ground floor and realizing there's not much about this that people would want to pay a lot of money for to come hunt. But on the other side of the coin, it's people will pay, but in Texas, because there's no public land, people will pay money to hunt on basically anything.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Where do we hunt on Greg's land? Just because we had the chance, we didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
But it was literally 50 yards of forest between a farm so
that plot of land is almost 250 acres. About 100 of it was farmed. So it's a big empty field, which means you have almost 150 acres to hunt. Is not a 150 acre square. It's a 150 acre strip that lines the edge of the land along, I think it's the Llano River.
Yeah, but we were happy to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just thrilled. And just realizing that, getting those things to be attractive. Yeah, there's always, if you walk out on any 50 acre piece of land in Texas that's not developed, even if it is developed, you're going to find whitetail. Yeah. There's going to be doves, and you might even have a turkey wander in there.
If you have some kind of coverage.
That's right. But you want to up those odds if you're making a lease out of it by planting food plots, digging a tank, having clearings for them, all that stuff. And that's the work that goes into it. And I'm realizing that the whitetail lease looks attractive and people might pay bigger bucks for that. But honestly, you can cram a lot of people in on a dove lease.
Yeah,
I'm on one right now, and I think I paid $400 to get on my dove lease, and I'm not alone out there. There's two big groups of guys who everybody paid the same amount to be there, and I start doing the math in my head. I was like, well, damn. Like, homeboy's got his taxes paid and then some on that land. So it's just weird. Like, you get in this mindset, like everything's about the big hunt, the whitetail, the turkeys, and like, that's what people are going to want. But you can probably cram more money in a dove lease if you're really feeling enterprising. That was surprising to me when I started realizing that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So,
So what you're saying is, the dove is good money, but there might be more bang for your buck.
Only in rifle season. Thanks, and you're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a team effort.
Yeah, if we could reach far enough, we would high five. But it'd be like a radio visual, or a podcast visual, I guess. Yeah.
Wasn't that cool what we just did in a physical way?
Yeah.
That you couldn't see, but we told you about it.
Check out this video. I'll put it up to the microphone so you can hear. But yeah, we're early in the preliminary phase of doing it, and it's just one of those things. Like, I'm so jealous when you talk about that you can go out to your mom's place and you can hunt, or you talk about your dad's got I think your dad has a stock pond or something, or at least I think he might just have a good spot that he goes to. But
he's just surrounded by neighborhood ponds.
And our friend Spencer, his dad has a ranch out there that they have land on. I just get so jealous of that. People that have that generations of things and like, oh yeah, come on, hunt the land.
Well, like my mom's place, it's barely big enough to be able to hunt.
Yeah.
And there's one corner where we were able to put a feeder, and basically we're coaxing the neighbor's deer over his fence is what we're doing.
It's called hunting.
That's great. That's great. I'm super excited about it and I can't wait to do it. But yeah, I find myself increasingly irritated at my ancestors.
Yeah.
For not picking up land when it was free.
Yeah.
Or just a nickel an acre or whatever.
Stick a flag in it, like in that Far and Away movie.
Yeah, you just go, this is mine.
Well, okay. You're white. I guess that's fine.
Yeah, that's not going to fly now.
No, not so much.
Absolutely. So that's something that's definitely on my radar as well. A little more down the road probably for us. But it is something the wife and I talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And every time I go out hunting anywhere, I come home just talking about, God, I want some land.
Right.
I want some land so bad. And not even necessarily for hunting, obviously for hunting, but also just to, like you're talking about, just go out there.
Yeah. And build what you want. Like, especially like unrestricted land, like we're looking at. Look, a lot of this stuff is just, if I want to build a cabin, I can build a cabin.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to build any kind of structure, if I want to do something, I want to set up an archery range, I can do that.
Yeah. And you can have a rifle range for sighting in your rifle. You can throw clays and shoot clays. You can build a smokehouse. Yeah, you could have a kill shed, for like gutting your deer and all that kind of stuff.
Like, you can build a laboratory and build genetic hybrids and super soldiers and stuff.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah, man. It's your land.
Like, you can splice together like a tree and a hog, and like a cedar tree and a hog, and see what you get. Yeah. Like, I'm just saying, like, I think there's probably an untapped market in amateur geneticists, like, that are looking for land to do really unethical experiments on.
Sure.
And I think that if Ashley and I can get out in front of that, if we can get a cedar hog out there, can you imagine how fast they would grow? Like, imagine.
But everybody would be allergic to them.
True. Like, and it would top the list of most invasive species of all time.
Oh my God.
Interestingly, I read a lot about cedars since I'm reading about the land thing too.
Yeah.
And the idea that cedars are an invasive species is a myth.
Is it now?
They are not an invasive species. There's a lot of propaganda against cedar that's sold by ranchers, believe it or not, because they want to just be able to clear it all out and not be bothered by it. Oh. But apparently,
they should call Chip and Joanna Gaines because they put cedar on everything.
Really? Mm-hmm. I don't even know who those people are.
That's those people from that show where they flip the houses for people and
and they
Fixer Upper, I think is their show.
Cedar is
the cedar on everything.
It's the hottest wood.
Yeah.
It is. So a lot of that cedar is old growth cedar that they use to make planks and actually make furniture out of and stuff. And that's the good stuff. So like 150, 200 years ago here when, Texas was a little rougher around the edges and like going all the way back to when Texas was first settled, a lot of the cedar here was old growth cedar, which was those are big trees. They're impressive trees, and they
stuff that you make fences out of.
Right, like they're really more like a hardwood. Like they're a nice tree, but they got decimated for use in things like flipping houses, I guess, or making cabins and stuff. And so now what we have is a lot of new growth cedar, and that's the little shrubbery kind of weed stuff that grows up underneath everything that we're used to. But so and some of the data about it's a water hog is inflated also, because a lot of times they're looking like they're comparing different ages of trees when they do that. Like they're using like mature cedars versus younger live oaks and stuff when they do like the original study that was done for that. It's just really interesting when you start looking at that, because every realtor is talking about like the cedar growth, like, oh, well, it's got a lot of cedar on it. And it's like deep down, I don't know that I care because I'm using it for hunting. But yeah, if you want to clear it out for a house, I get it.
Yeah.
You got to clear everything out, but you don't want to get rid of the hardwoods like the oaks, the live oaks and the elms and stuff. But I just found that that's one of those interesting tidbits that comes up from looking for land.
That is interesting.
It's like, I'm not a rancher. Why do I need to care so much about clearing cedar out?
Yeah.
Like, why is that a big deal for me?
Or keep letting the real estate agents push that as a negative, scare people away.
Sure.
And then you can pick up
Give
that
me the
stuff.
one with all the cedar on it.
Yeah. What do you have in a cedar?
Also, I'm allergic to cedar, so I need to be looking at that. So just want to be out in a stand sneezing myself to death. It's like, why don't I ever see any deer? Yeah.
There's no deer out here. I don't understand. Where's the deer?
Have you tried hunting with Zyrtec, Mike? may do something for you.
I don't think that's legal.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll keep you updated on what we do. It's an expensive proposition. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, indeed.
They want 20% down. It's not like a house where you can finagle 10-15% with a good credit rating. It's like, nope, 20%. Thanks. We got plenty of rich people that want to do that. Like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe if you're nice to me, score an invite on that land. Come hunt. At least you can fill my feeders for me, bro.
Gladly. I am all about sweat equity.
Fill my feeders, bro. Episode title and market. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.